Are you guys ready? All right.
Ready, let's do it.
Hello, my name is Kevin. I created this channel to find different communities who have unique stories, life obstacles, and something to share. Welcome to another episode of Healthy Hangout. Today we're joined with Eric and Jeremy, co-founders of Zero Doubt Kitchen and Zero Doubt Club. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to get to know you guys a little bit more, know about your journey and everything. So, let's get rocking with these questions, huh?
Sure.
So, can you guys tell us a little bit more about yourselves and just the connection to Zero Doubt Club?
Yeah, so we started Zero Doubt Club about 4 years ago, but the journey kind of started even before that with my personal transformation. Someone who was just in a bad point of my life, got really unhealthy at the age of 36, so this is about 9 years ago, and was going through a sickness with my wife, and our relationship was not healthy. I was not healthy. My mind was just not in a good spot. I was not connected to my soul, my spirit, my heart. And, my body started to feel it. I was always a gym guy, so I looked the part of a healthy person for many, many years, but finally it just caught up to me, and I was just totally, not in a great spot. And, I tear my bicep in the gym. My wife got diagnosed with cancer, and, I'm just looking at myself, and I'm like, what is going on with my life? And it was like a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call, and I decided that I was gonna, stop doing the bad habits that got me here, which was excessive drinking paired with partying, with the party drugs. And, I was a professional poker player, so I was gambling and in that nightlife, and, it was just total unhealthy lifestyle. And I just started, I just took it one day at a time and started just clearing up my body, started to, separate myself from all the, all the bad habits one day at a time, and I got healthy. I lost 30 pounds of unhealthy weight, and I'm a small guy, so that's a lot of weight. And just started kind of helping people in the casino because they saw that I was looking better. And that's when kind of the first seed of coaching was planted, because there was a lot of success stories of just people listening to me at the poker table, giving advice. And I was telling myself I should do this professionally, because I was not fulfilled at all. I was a dead soul playing poker, unfulfilled, just dead inside. The only thing that kept me going was my family, my sons. That kept me going, and some hope maybe something would change in the future. But I was stranded. I didn't know where to turn. And this wake-up call, this was the turning point. So I take this journey, and it was only 2 years of this healthy journey that I decided that I wanted to do this professionally. And again, it was a universe thing, because I was driving to the casino one day, and I was listening to my first spiritual book, Spirit Hacking, and there was I was raised Jewish, but I had no connection with any sort of divine presence, higher power.
Yeah.
I did not believe it existed. But in 2019, the end of 2019, I'm listening to my first spiritual book. And there was a part in this book that all of a sudden I get really emotional, and I'm not an emotional guy. 30 years, never had any sort of emotional stuff. Just hold everything in. That's how I was raised and taught, coming from Soviet Russia, and just
tough guy.
You gotta right, exactly. So I get emotional, and as I'm feeling these weird feelings, this box truck drives by, and it says Spirit right on the side of it. I'm driving, and I see the truck. I'm like, what the fuck? As I'm as I'm seeing this, I hear from my higher, this voice. Now I know it's your higher self. We have a higher self, right? Back then I didn't really know what it was. It was just loud. And it was when you get to the casino, you're gonna sign up for that health coaching, life coaching certification you've been looking at for a year. Just never pushed the button to sign up. So I got to the casino, I pushed the button. That's it, I'm in, I paid it. And that's where everything kept going.
Yeah.
Everything kept going. So I made the decision then that I would also order this little infrared sauna I was looking at, and I'm gonna sit in there every morning. I'm gonna wake up every morning. When I start my day, I'm just gonna sit in there every morning. and meditate or whatever you want to call it. I was actually just listening to like EDM, electronic music, most of the time.
But you're sitting in there in your own own self.
Exactly. I had already cut down on, again, the drinking and all the other stuff, so my body was healthy. And I'm sitting in there, and all of a sudden, after like a couple months of doing this, I just go back to some childhood stuff, some back then stuff that was traumatic. But looking back at it, you're like, everyone goes through this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, bullying. For me, it was a lot of bullying stuff, right? But it's what it does to you. So as like a kid, when you get bullied, you start questioning life, right? And that's where the whole disconnect from the universe happens, because you're like, no one's got my back. Mm-hmm. Parents are stressed out, working, they can't really relate to you. And who's gonna relate to you as a kid if you're an only child at 5, 6 years old? Right? So there was experiences. So I'm going through all of this stuff, and it's happening in the sauna. And for like the first time in 30 years, I had like this emotional release breakdown, but in a good way, because I was forgiving myself. I was forgiving the past. I was like an adult, but a child at the same time. And it was super powerful. I come out of the sauna, I'm totally different. I'm like on ecstasy, like everything is vibrating, all the colors are brighter, nature looks better. And I'm like, whoa, so this is it. So I continue to meditate, and 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in there again, and now all of a sudden, like, I see myself very vividly, as if in a dream, on stage, sharing my story. There's thousands of people, friends and family, and it didn't make any sense because supposedly I have a fear of public speaking. At least that's what I was telling myself for 25, 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. So I see this and I'm like, what's going on? This doesn't make sense. But I knew, and it felt like this was my destiny. Yeah. So I made the decision right after then that I would never drink again. I had already cut it down big time, but now it was like official, because like I see this, I'm gonna help people, and I'm gonna never play poker again, because I was still playing poker part-time online, making money, but and I gave that up. And then 2 days later, because I created the space inside of me, I meet my mentor. And then I worked with him for a year. Every day there was a call that he would do for 2.5 hours. And his name is Sean G. Murphy. You can look it up. I highly suggest you look him up and follow him. Sean G. Murphy, he's a mastermind coach. It's all about the mind. And that's what I needed. So it was like the universe brought me this, mentor, master, right at the right time. And that's when I knew everything changed. My confidence went from okay to now, like, I see what is possible.
That's awesome. And that's something that, like, you don't realize, that sometimes you might have that outer presence that you think you're physically fit, you're physically, mentally there, but really deep down, you're not. And then you go through something like you did with your journey and finding all those different signs, that's great.
Yep, very grateful.
That's awesome. Erica, what about you?
So yeah, because of all of his work and his vision, after he spent that year, Jeremy actually picked up a few clients. And my background, I was just a serial entrepreneur for 20 plus years. The way I describe it now, that I kind of clearly see what that life was like back then. Just always felt like I was everywhere but nowhere. Lived very low levels of consciousness and ego and negativity, and just tried but could never prioritize my health. So I hired personal trainers, I tried every diet under the sun, you name a gym on the east side of Cleveland, I was a member of, bought a Peloton, tried P90X, etc., and nothing ever sustained. So COVID hit, and I was in real estate at the time, and there was zero deal flow. So just isolating at home, eating too much, drinking too much, stressing too much, etc. And also, this was November of 2020, just total epiphany, hit my bottom. I just, I was 255 pounds, really high resting heart rate in the 90s, diagnosed for CPAP machine. Year after year, doctor physicals of, you need to get on cholesterol medication, high blood pressure medication. I kept,
Yeah, you need to make a change.
you need something, and I would always resist, and I never went the medication route, thank God. Made a decision, and literally the next day, a mutual friend bought a house on our street, on my street, and Jeremy's driving down, and I happen to be on the driveway, and he comes out of the car to say hello, because we've known each other since kids. Our parents immigrated from Russia at the same time, so we were in the Russian community, and we were friendly. We weren't necessarily close friends, but if we saw each other out, we would definitely spend time together. And he's just like, I think he used the words, "You look like death." Just COVID beard.
Did not look good.
Big guy, didn't look good.
You can show the picture.
Yeah, yeah, you realize it's
I'll
something.
send you the picture. I'll send you the picture. And he's basically like, "Hey, I quit drinking. I am now vegan." I had to throw that up. Anyway, he's like, I'm coaching people. He didn't even finish a sentence. I'm like, I'm in. Yeah. And he's like, well, I need a 90-day commitment. I'm like, easy, done, like no problem. So I was a client.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so November 2020 we started. We're on the treadmill literally the next day, and he's like, who are you accountable to? And I go, I think I've burned those bridges. Like if I tell my wife and kids I hired another trainer, they're just gonna laugh. Right. And he's like, post it on Facebook. And like, I wanted it so bad. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if every single person I know, I posted the video of me sweating bad. And I said, this is day 1 of 100. Because it was like middle of November, so the end of 100 days was like the end of February. So the 90 days would have been mid-February. Anyway, so day 1 of 100, and of course my friends were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are you
like,
posting
okay,
that? Like, you're
right.
gonna do
Might
it.
stop,
You'll
like
stop the
5
next day.
days.
Like, what are you doing? And I got to tell you again, that accountability definitely helped. Jeremy, what the difference was this time, and I know you have some follow-up questions that touch on this too, but like, it wasn't just about the workout, and it wasn't just about the food. And Jeremy helped me connect some dots that I could never connect before. And they were little behaviors that I started doing, and then magic started happening. And that's what's exciting. And Jeremy was a professional poker player for 15 years, but I had more, business background and starting businesses and whatever else. So he's sharing his vision with me. And he's training me in other people's gyms, and he was training people at their office or their basements. I'm like, man, for you to speak in front of stadiums, like you got to create this brand, and you got to whatever else. So through many conversations, as much as he's coaching me, I'm kind of giving him some business advice on how to build his vision. And about 3-4 months in, he's just like, why don't you do this with me? Why don't you do this business with me? And I'm just thinking, I get to do like sales and marketing and all the business stuff, and you just keep healing people and boxing up what you did with me, and we just scale that like easy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot has happened since, but that, obviously my transformation, Zero Doubt Club, everything started with the fact that Jeremy made the decision that day, because I don't know what would have happened if he wasn't at the bottom of my driveway that day. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and now what we've built and how many people we've helped, and it's
got to be super rewarding. One, to see that, to see your both transformations, and now just being able to share that and see other people's transformations. Because it's kind of funny how sometimes it is just like that wake up call, or that it happens immediately. Like you said, it was just like I'm pushing the button, I'm taking the action, and then it takes off.
Yeah, but how many times over 20 years did I do that? How many times did I say the diet starts today and didn't last 4 hours? Yeah. And the workout start today, didn't last more than 3 days. So it's like, we keep making promises to ourselves that we keep breaking. And that's where, Jeremy was, again, I credit him with saving my life. He says I did all the work, which is true, but he was there to like connect those really important dots that I could never do on my own. And that's the hole that we saw in the industry, that if it's just about the workout, if it's just about gym memberships, there's a really high probability it will not sustain. And if it's just about the diet, there's a really high probability that won't sustain. It just is,
Right.
for whatever reason. But when you start connecting exercise and diet and have a coach that helps you, and you work on mind, like that's the magic.
Well, that kind of goes into my next question here. Is like part of Zeroed Out mission is to create the experience focused on the mind, body, and soul. So, like, can you share more about what that means and why it's important? I know you guys already kind of touched base on that, but anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if here's the most important aspect of all this really is connected to your soul, your spirit, or your heart. Because without that, it's going to be too easy to let the mind kick in and tell you to quit and stop. You have to connect to your heart and listen to what your heart is telling you to do with your life. Because that was the shift for me. When I had that, then it was easy to not drink anymore. Someone who drank for, how many years, 20 some years, and then, would add, cocaine or other, chemicals.
Yep.
To all of a sudden let go, to not even have that desire anymore. That's the piece that I think it's the hardest to get, but it's attainable, and it's all that it's inside of us. It's inside of us.
Every client comes in with, and thus the name Zeroed Out, with so many doubts.
Yeah.
It's this, why will this time be different? I can't. I couldn't before. He told me I can't. This sucks. He sucks. And just the mind is so filled with negativity and toxicity that part of the magic in the journey is recognizing that and flipping the script, right? With a lot of like exercises that I remember Jeremy used to give to me and that we give our clients today, like not I have to, but I get to, right?
Yeah.
And like little
mind shifts and ways
but
of just looking at something.
right.
Gratitude list. Look, at the end of the day, our mind is a computer machine, right? It's 70,000 programs or thoughts are running through every single day, okay? And a lot of those are repetitive. So, but we have the power to control which ones we want to have, which ones we don't want to have. And we can edit them out, just like a computer program. But you have to be aware of what they are. You have to look at them. A lot of times you even have to write them down, and you have to write the opposite. Then you have to think, why are you having this negative thought? What is it attached to? Could it be attached to an emotion that you had 15 years ago, and you're still feeding this loop? All of that can be rewritten. It takes a lot of work. I'm still doing it. I'm still working through. There's still negative stuff that goes through my mind, even though I'm like super positive, because it's a computer program that we're trying to fix that's been broken forever, since the existence of, they say when Adam and Eve ate from the tree, then that's when it all started. Yeah. And so we're trying to as a human species, this is our number one task. Our number one inner purpose right now is to undo that.
And again, the focus of why is it mind, body, soul? Because we can be like every other gym, and we can be like every other or the majority of personal trainers and just be about the workout. But real results come when a human being transforms and wants to be better. And that only happens when they can connect these mind, body, soul dots. Because if it's not just about the body, there's a lot of people at the gym that have amazing bodies that are negative, that are toxic, that are super stressed, that are not happy, that are not positive ripple effects to themselves or to the community or to their families or to their coworkers. So it's not just about getting the body right, but the mind and soul. And when our clients like are really ready and they really need it and want it and are willing to do what it takes and schedule coaching calls with Jeremy, and I mean it's just amazing, you know.
Yeah, that's great.
The transformations happen,
Yeah.
and that's what we're all about, is providing that high touch, high value. It's got to be all about results and sustainability.
That's great. And then there's some challenges and solutions here. Like, what are some common challenges individuals when trying to improve, like individuals that you guys have worked with, trying to improve their mental health through nutrition, and how can Zero Doubt, you know, help that?
Yeah, well, I mean, life happens, right? So relationships, work, stress, time, and so all that is challenging. Politics, wars in the world. I mean, anything can really keep people in not positive moods to want to work out or want to eat right and do emotional eating, or not. They'll do what they need to do here, but then what happens on the other, you know, 100+ hours in the week. So it's really about keeping your eyes on the prize, right? So making that decision, keep your eyes on what is the 30-day goal, what is the 60-day goal, what is the 90-day goal, what do I want to look like in a year, what do I want to feel like in a year, what type of ripple effect do I want to have on the people around me in a year. And if that's strong, if their why is strong, then they're gonna do what it takes, right? And not let a cruise for a week where they gain 5 pounds get them to quit,
Right.
which it does.
Oh yeah, I mean, you see that. I
You
mean,
know-
it's, you know, happens to me, and you know, everybody.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a
yeah.
way.
So-
So like you even say like the ripple effect, and just like how energy is passed. You know, so if you do have that negative energy, it can be
Yeah.
passed along. But if you do bring that, you know, that positive or that better energy, it can easily feed off of you.
Yeah, so two paintings we can picture. Somebody that's on a weekend that did a lot of drinking and partying and doesn't feel great and didn't eat well and whatever else show up on a Monday morning to
Right,
work.
yeah.
Or the person that worked out and spent quality time with the family and was out in nature all weekend and you know, was present. Whatever else, that woke up at 6 a.m. on a Monday and got their workout in and got a good healthy breakfast. Who do you want to show up at an 8 a.m.?
No, you're right. I mean,
You know what I mean?
I mean, my personal experience, I used to be just like that, and be every weekend I would think of just going out to the bar,
Right.
drink. Sunday even, I'd be like, should I? No, I was there. And then Mondays,
Vicious
you know,
cycle,
it was
man.
brutal. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a brutal cycle, and
Yeah.
I finally got out of that
We
myself.
all
too,
did that.
which
We all did that, and now we know how drastic that difference is,
It really
right?
is, yeah.
It's insane. And you know, we love the quote of firing on all cylinders. Firing on all cylinders is mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
That period. You're not firing on one cylinder or two. You're firing on all three. That's I keep using the word magic, but that's
No.
the magic.
Yeah.
Because it does it. It feels like magic. Like I pinch myself. I can't believe that like I feel good. I'm a positive ripple effect on my family and my friends and work, and I get to help others do the exact same thing. Like, it is magical, because I was total 180 degrees just 3 years ago.
And yeah, it seems, to me, like back then, it would seem ridiculous saying that, like, oh, you're gonna feel that much better, and that, you know, but
Yeah, it was
you truly are,
and it
like,
felt like this mountain to climb, and not these little one day at a time,
Right.
little steps that get you there. Of course, there's a lot of work. Everyone's like envious of what you look like,
Yes,
but they're not envious of all the days of the right decisions that you made when you ate, the good sleep that you had, so you woke up and wanted to work out and eat well and whatever else, and that type of routine and habits that you know we get into, that our clients get into, etc. That end up getting that results a year later, 2 years later,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Well, now, like, I mean, some of your clients can, if you can, but like, is there an inspiring story that's someone that you've helped improve, through their mental health and through fitness?
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah. I
it's
mean,
got a
I'll give
lot.
you, obviously there's the weight stories. So, I have clients that come in and lose 100 pounds. Okay, we have those stories. I have stories where people have hired me for, life coaching, health coaching. They start off with health coaching, and they start connecting the dots after a couple sessions, and that leads to, quitting a gambling addiction right away, and using that extra time and energy to create a new hobby in rock climbing, and then meeting his wife through rock climbing, and just overall, like, again, being able to let go of some of the past that was preventing him from rock climbing, because of all the weight. So that's a great story. Again, another lady hired me because she wanted me to, she listened to our podcast, and she wanted me to guide her through the courage of leaving a well-paid job that was just draining her soul, and starting something completely different. And now she runs summer camps for kids.
And she probably gets so much more fulfillment out of that, feels better.
Yeah.
Our best success stories are not about like weight and muscle.
Yeah.
It's just not, and that's the best part. It's someone who got off medications, or someone that built this newfound confidence in themselves, or purpose in life, or again went from, similar to my story, from low levels of consciousness to live a life of gratitude and peace, and like they it's just awesome to have conversations with clients that came in to drop 10 pounds, or came in to drop 25 pounds, but leave with, or I shouldn't say leave there, many are still here, other things.
But
that
take away much more than just
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then of course the physical, that could never do a pull-up can now do
right.
3 sets of 10, and they couldn't do a pull-up in their 20s, and they're in their late 40s doing 3 sets of 10. That's amazing, right? So the vitality, the client that comes in at 50 years old that feels like he's 60 years old, a year later feels like he's 30.
Yeah.
He just took 30 years off his life. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's super cool. Love that you guys can have that be a part of your daily lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very. Jeremy, I know this is kind of probably a harder topic, but you faced a very tragic loss of your wife. Can you share just how you kind of navigated through that challenging time?
First of all, I'll say it's not a hard topic, because anytime that I can talk about her, that brings the person's back. Their soul is still here, right?
Yeah.
So, but what it's allowed me to do is be more present. I think anytime that we face death, it brings presence into us. So anybody who's ever in your family died, it'll bring presence. Even people who are still with us, but you start thinking about their death, that allows you to become present. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe death is just a gift.
So regarding Jeremy and Tony, just the fact that a lot of that has led to the whole reason for Zero Doubt Club, and the story, although very tragic, has been really inspirational in the way that like we live and we think. And Tony told Jeremy that she feels that she caused her own cancer, and because of that development, because of like the words she said to Jeremy, and the way that we've become huge believers that we're in control of our own destiny and our own diseases and our own sicknesses. And I mean, there's study after study that shows how big of a killer just stress is, besides all the toxins and processed foods that we eat and the packaging and all that stuff. But just stress alone and mindset what a big deal that does to personal health. I think the statistic is 75% of diseases out there, I mean, 3/4 are lifestyle diseases, which is a huge number and it's ugly, but that means it's preventable.
I was to say, yeah, then,
Yeah, so that means 75% of healthcare costs, of diseases, I mean, and without even all the other ancillary ripple effect benefits or whatever else, all that's fixable. If somebody really needs it and wants it and wants that quality of life and vitality and to stop stress, they got to start connecting the dots in their life. And just to add too, I had a grief. My mom passed 8 years ago, and again, it's that what she wouldn't have done to see me, now,
yeah,
and healthy, and she was a classical pianist, and the way I integrate her into my life is in my running playlist. I actually have classical music,
okay,
and whenever Mozart or Beethoven, some of the songs that she used to play all the time,
yeah,
come on, that's my time with my mom.
That's cool. Yeah,
When I run and stuff. So again, it's shifting that negative into purpose and meditation and presence and a connection that I wouldn't have if I was living my old life of stressing and all the negative bad habits and low levels of consciousness. Then it's all about me and ego and whatever else, and would never have those moments. And that's what's important.
Well, I mean, I know both of them would probably love to see you guys and where you're at and how proud.
Oh, they see it.
Yeah.
They see it.
Yeah.
They see it. They feel it. I kind of had not a joke, but my mom almost had to pass to get closer to God, to nudge him to help me. You know what I mean? I believe that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, now we'll.
Then
well,
that's
thank
what
you.
just happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Well, I appreciate you guys, taking the time
Yeah,
to
man.
share a little bit more about, yourselves and your journey and Zero.Club.
Sure.
With all this, though, it's time for our moment of motivation, though. And I had you guys kind of write down something that kind of drives you, or just your favorite quote. If you guys wouldn't mind sharing and why it kind of resonates.
I'll go first, and you'll end on a
Okay.
super powerful note. Mine is, and again, I've touched on that. I think through this interview, but confidence comes from the promises you made to yourself, and that was my life for so many years of making promises that I used to break, literally minutes later, hours later, days later, etc. And connecting the dots and starting to fire on all cylinders, and what builds confidence and perseverance and happiness and authentic joy, not a "what's up, how are you, I'm great" joy, pinch yourself, I can't believe I feel this good, and so on joy, all from keeping the promises you make to yourself.
Yeah.
And so that was my quote.
Yeah, so mine is everything that we look for or want is already inside of us. You cannot match the way that you feel, your internal reality. You cannot match that joy, that peace with anything else out there.
Yeah.
Nature's close, but you're going to be there.
I love it, guys. I love it. And again, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
man.
And,
Thank
until next time, right?
Until next time, absolutely.
Yeah, there's always a part two.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.